Welcome to my unboxing and first look at the Corsair Carbide 200R. This is now the, well, I shouldn't say lowest end case, although it is the most value oriented in Corsair's lineup, coming in at a pretty wicked price, well under $100, but trying to still continue to deliver Corsair's trademark gaming oriented features. So we're gonna go ahead and spend a little bit of time on the outside of the case by peeling away all of the information that I am able to find about the case. So easy builds. The only time you'll need a screwdriver is to install the motherboard. Something easy. Here, yes. If we remove the shipping information, then we can read it like this. Haha. Oh man, this something tower form factor is compact and USB 3, and this is just an awful experience of trying to operate the packaging. So we're just gonna jump right into it and open this bad boy up. I've been asked a number of times in the past why I insist on flipping the box over to extract the case from it rather than just cutting open the bottom of the box. And the reason for that is actually that I usually store the cases in a big pile. So if I can't keep track of which ones have the top cut open and which ones have the bottom cut open, at some point I will open up or I'll pick up a box and the thing will fall out the bottom, and that'll be a bad experience for everyone. Now this case is a low-end case, it is lighter, but I'd say Corsair probably could stand to use a little bit thicker, a little bit more rugged foam on this one. I'd love to see soft foam, but with these value-oriented products, I understand why we're using a molded hard foam because it is a lot less expensive on the packaging side. Now it looks like I've got the case upside down right now, which is okay because the plastic wrap looks like it's also on upside down. So I don't know if that's something that happens just with the sample cases or something that happens with all of them, but there you go. Why don't we start at the bottom of the case, since that's what we're doing anyway. We have a mount for a 120 or a 140 millimeter fan, rubber feet keep it from slipping around, and you've got a fan filter that is easily removable for the bottom mounted power supply fan. Let's go ahead and flip the case back around to the orientation that it's supposed to live in, and we'll go have a look at the front of the case. Two USB 3.0 front panel ports, headphone, microphone, reset switch, and power switch, as well as a power indicator LED. Wouldn't mind seeing this reset switch a little bit further away from the power switch, but as long as you're careful, you shouldn't have too much trouble with that. Three 5¼ inch bays, and looks like not a removable front piece here. However, the ventilation is going to come from these holes on the side and on the side of, well, the other side. On the side panel, it's a good thing we have video to go along with this, because if I was a radio personality explaining this, I'd be like, you'd be like, well, what are there vents on the side? Are there fans on the side? Are there like children on the side? Anyway, so there's two 120 millimeter or 140 millimeter fan mounts above the CPU area and the GPU area. On the top of the case, you find, this is pretty much the most practical configuration for these holes. So you can do two 140s, and they'll be right up against each other. And then what Corsair's done is they've moved the two 120s a little bit away from the motherboard tray to give you clearance for the VRM cooler, the CPU block or heatsink or whatever else is going on, in order to make it so that you can install an H100 dual radiator in here without interfering with any of the other components inside your system. So while it looks a little bit sort of off-center, because it is when you have dual 120s in there, it's, again, very, very practical as far as ways to approach that goes. This is actually surprisingly thick side panel material for a value-oriented case like this, and the entire interior of the case is black painted, which is awesome. So I'm just going to take off both side panels here so that we can get a really good look at things. They've also got these awesome little rubber grommets. These are great for noise isolation, and what those do is they easily remove, and then they can be installed in the different holes if those are the ones that you'd prefer to use. So you see that, if you want to use 140 millimeter fans, you just move all those around and you'll get that same noise dampening no matter what size of fan you decide to use. Now that we're inside, we can see, this is convenient, look at that. They're assuming you're gonna install ITX, MATX, which I believe is sort of over to here, yes, these two are removable. Actually, Let's see, are they? Yeah, some of them are removable. This is removable, this is removable, and this is removable. And you better remove this one unless you're installing an M-ATX board. I wish they hadn't pre-installed that, so be really careful, guys. That'll short out an ATX board. But they've pre-installed the standoffs you need in order to install your motherboard. You got a nice big CPU cutout, 120mm rear fan, which is as compatible with a water cooler as these top 120 fan mounts. And you can see the way they've oriented the top 120s actually leaves room for a radiator here as well. So you could potentially do a single 120, a dual 120, and then an additional single 120 down here if you actually wanted to. You could put a pretty beast water cooling setup in this case in spite of its price. The toolless 5¼ inch bays are handled just with simple tension mounted, see there's little clips in there that are going to clip into the side of the drive, so you just pull those out when you want to slide the drive out. No problems whatsoever. The front cooling is done by a single 120mm fan, so it should get ample airflow from these vents on either side of it. You've got a couple of SSD mounts, actually 4 SSD mounts? Oh, that's outstanding. 4 SSD mounts here that are just kind of pressure mounted as well, so they shouldn't, yes, they clip in from the back right there, so they're not going anywhere even in shipping. And then you've got 4 3.5 inch drives. This is actually a very smart internal layout. This is completely custom chassis here. So I'm going to lay it down for a second, or just a little bit, and show you guys the cable management options. So cable management is going to be done here for nothing because the power supply will be there. Here for everything that you're going to run up here, 24-pin power for your optical drives, all the power for your hard drives and all that good stuff. And then, well, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Here's all your front panel connectors, including something that I am not 100% sure. Yes, okay. So they've got a nice flat ribbon cable for the front USB 3. That's actually the first time I've seen that. That looks really sharp and is going to be able to bend much tighter, see that, than USB 3 cables on other motherboards that I've seen in the past. So what's cool about that is it's going to make your cable management look quite a bit tidier, again, in spite of the fact that this is a very value-oriented case. Now let's go ahead and pop out this. I'm sorry for being in my living room here, guys, but I really don't have much of a choice right now. I gotta get this case unbox-simulated. So here we go. Some cable ties for cable management, some mounting screws for fans and whatnot, radiators more likely, mounting screws for the motherboard in all likelihood, and mounting screws for optical drives in all likelihood, mounting screws for fans. Oh, and more rubber grommets in case you lose some, I guess. Cool. Good thinking, Corsair. And it looks like, yeah, these are clip-ins too. So see, there's clip-in pieces right here. The way they've done the, yeah, if you stand there, it's not good. There we go. The way they've done the toolless on this case is actually outstanding. So this will clip in, and then if you want more security, you can screw it in here without much difficulty. So thank you for checking out my unboxing and first look at what may be the new sort of lightweight champ for value gaming computer cases, the Corsair 200R. Don't forget to subscribe to Linus Tech Tips for more unboxings, reviews, and other computer videos.